In February 2022, the world watched in disbelief as images of a burning hangar surfaced. The dream was gone. But why wasn't it flown to safety when war was on the doorstep? And more importantly, how is it being rebuilt today? Let's dive into the fate of the Mriya. To understand why the Mriya was so massive, we have to look at the Cold War space race. In the 1980s, the Soviet Union was developing its own space shuttle, the Buran, but there was a problem. The shuttle and its massive Mriya rockets were built far from the launch site in Kazakhstan. They needed a way to transport a literal spaceship on the back of a plane. Enter the Antonov Design Bureau. They took the existing An-125 Ruslan, stretched the fuselage, added 2 more engines, and replaced the tail with a twin-fin design to avoid aerodynamic interference from the shuttle's wake. In 1988, the Mriya, Ukrainian for dream, took its first flight. It was a giant born for the stars. But when the Soviet Union collapsed and the Buran program was canceled, the world's largest plane was left without a mission, sitting in storage for years. It wasn't until 2001 that it was reborn as a commercial heavy lifter. It became the only aircraft in the world capable of moving entire power plant generators, trains, or even hundreds of tons of medical supplies during the pandemic. It didn't just carry cargo, it carried things people thought were impossible to fly. Finally, in 2008, the aircraft received its final, famous livery, with yellow and blue wavy patterns adorning the aircraft's nose and fuselage. Hindsight is 2022, but the reality on the ground was a race against time that Antonov lost. Just days before the invasion, one of the 6 D-18T engines was removed for routine maintenance. The Mriya was effectively grounded. While the crew managed to reinstall it by the morning of February 24th, the window of opportunity had already slammed shut. Despite warnings from NATO and intelligence agencies, the leadership hesitated. A safe haven in Leipzig, Germany was ready, but the order to move never came. Today, former officials are facing investigations for their role in this catastrophic delay. To understand why the Mriya died, we have to look at the battlefield. Hostomel Airport, or Antonov Airport, was the primary objective for the Russian airborne forces. It was the gateway to Kyiv. On the afternoon of February 24th, the Dream was sitting in Hangar 7. As elite paratroopers dropped from helicopters, the airfield became a kill zone. Ukrainian artillery launched a counter-offensive to prevent the runway from being used by enemy transport planes. The Mriya wasn't targeted by a single missile. It was caught in the crossfire of a brutal, days-long battle. Heavy shelling and incendiary rounds eventually struck the hangar. The massive aircraft, filled with fuel and hydraulic fluids, didn't stand a chance. When the smoke finally cleared weeks later, the world saw the iconic nose of the An-225 resting on the tarmac, severed and scorched. It wasn't just metal that was lost. It was the crown jewel of heavy lift aviation. For many, the destruction of the Mriya was a wound that couldn't be healed with just money. It required a promise. On May 20th, 2022, President Volodymyr Zelensky made that promise clear when he stated, "We will build it." The issue is not the money, it's a matter of ambition. We were contacted by the late pilots. They said they lost their lives to win the war, but they wanted the Mriya back. We will build it for the memory of our heroes. Rebuilding the Mriya isn't just about fixing what was broken. It's about creating Mriya 2.0, a version of the giant that belongs in the 21st century. Here is how the new bird will differ from the original. Advanced Western avionics. The old analog dials and green-tinted screens are gone. Mriya 2.0 will feature a state-of-the-art glass cockpit with Western flight management systems and fly-by-wire technology, making it safer and easier to fly with a smaller crew. Modern power. While it retains the iconic 6-engine roar, the D-18T engines are being overhauled for better fuel efficiency and lower emissions, meeting modern international environmental standards. Advanced materials. By using 2020s-era carbon composites and lighter aluminum alloys, the new fuselage will be stronger yet lighter, potentially allowing it to break its own world records for maximum takeoff weight. Global integration. Every part, from the landing gear to the hydraulic systems, is being redesigned to ensure that parts can be sourced globally. moving away from the old, restricted Soviet-era supply chains. But where does the money come from for such a massive project? Part of the answer lies in your PC or Xbox. Through a unique partnership with Microsoft Flight Simulator, every digital Mriya sold contributes directly to the rebuilding fund. Over $3 million have already been raised by the aviation community. It's a beautiful irony. A digital ghost is helping its physical successor take flight. The skeleton of the second An-225 has been waiting in the shadows since the late 80s. It's about 70% complete, but the remaining 30% is the hardest part. Between the ongoing conflict and the multi-billion-dollar price tag, the road ahead is steep. But for Ukraine, this isn't just a transport plane. It's a statement. Rebuilding the Mriya is a symbol of national recovery, a message that what was destroyed can be built back even stronger. The Mriya didn't die in that hangar. It lives on in the hearts of engineers, in the cockpits of simulators, and in the blueprint of a future where the world's largest plane once again touches the sky. The dream isn't dead. It's just waiting for its second takeoff. What do you think? Is Mriya 2.0 a vital piece of history? Or is the cost too high for a single aircraft? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next flight.